From here on out, every foul is flagrant, boy. Let's go. What's up? Came in a chokehold, more balls than Esco. All right, maybe
you are now tuned into the chat room, your favorite baller's favorite podcast.
Welcome back to the Chatroom Podcast. I am the Senator, and this is episode 17 of season number 2. And with me today, I got Coach.
What it do, y'all?
Also got Dwayne.
Going on.
And making his return after a Boston Celtics loss, we got Ashton.
What's going on, fellas?
Just here, man. Just here. I have to introduce you properly, so.
Marcus Smart went on a 10-point run and didn't score again the rest of the game. That's tough.
It's okay. He was a spark. He was a spark. That's all. Tough. I mean, it didn't work, though, but it's all good. We're not getting into that, Coach.
It's all good, good. But on this episode, we were fortunate enough to collab with a really dope podcast, really dope. They just got really dope content, and they're from Louisiana. So we got the Opinionated Benchwarmers with us today. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves. Just say a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump into the roundtable discussions.
It's Rob here, Opinionated Benchwarmers, one of the hosts on there. We've been going for about 2 years now, from Louisiana, like you mentioned, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 225, stand up. We appreciate you guys for having us. And, we're ready to get going, man, ready to get into these topics.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Carlos here, man. We appreciate you guys having us, man. This is, I guess, a cool opportunity for us. And like you mentioned, we talked about a little bit offline, we're all Lakers fans. So we bringing that purple and gold.
It is, man.
With the coach,
Yes,
so we got some ammo.
Yes,
and
sir.
So we just excited, man. We excited to rock with you guys, man.
Yeah, man. Same here. Ramon Hardy from Baton Rouge, Louisiana as well. Like they said, man, we appreciate the opportunity. Looking forward to collabing. We've already had some good, interesting conversations, so I can only imagine what this roundtable is about to be about. So, I'm not going to even delay it anymore or anything like that. Let's just go ahead and hop into it, man.
Let's go.
All right, let's do that.
Just one quick thing for our viewers. I'm not a Lakers fan. I'm a Toronto Raptors fan. Let's just clarify that.
Me either.
I'm a Raptors fan.
Represent the whole time. Right. Y'all going through a little tough spell right now.
Yeah. Little. Damn.
Tough. A little tough.
That's being generous, huh? Being nice with it.
Yeah.
Hey, one thing I will say about the Raptors, y'all can find some doggone talent, man. Y'all find some talent, bro.
Appreciate that.
He's not talking about Pascal though.
I was talking about
Man, just push the knife. All right.
He going through a rough set.
Right. I hear like a violin in the background right now, like cue the violin.
It's all good, man. He's going through a rough time, but he's getting a very good contract, so he's doing all right for himself.
Stealing money.
He's stealing, man.
Hey, shout out to y'all for having like one of the few black executives that's at the top.
Facts.
Running the NBA team.
Exactly.
So I respect y'all for that. Yeah, for sure.
He on his way out, though.
All right. Okay, gentlemen. What I want to say. Before we jump into any discussions like we just did, because we already can tell where this is going to go, we do have to say rest in peace to Shock G, hip-hop pioneer. For those that don't really know about him, Digital Underground. Also, if you don't know that, then you definitely have heard the Humpty Dance. But on top of that, they've been around for years. Tracks with Pac, like all that stuff. Shock G was a true artist, and over yesterday, from the day of recording, was a memorial for DMX, which might have been one of the craziest that you saw. Like, it's just the monster truck with him in there, them doing that final ride, and the amount of bikers and ATV and all that stuff that were there. It was insane. So in the past 3 weeks, we lost three major pioneers in the hip hop industry, one way or another. We lost X, we lost Black Rob, and now Shock G.
Joe kind of said it on his podcast too. Like, before we can even grieve and kind of get into like RIP, you know, like those kind of talks, like one like a next person died. Like, it's like every last 3 episodes has been someone passing away, man. So the biggest thing is just take away from that is just cherish your loved ones, man. Just cherish who's around you, man. Because like, as I said, like every week somebody's dropping out, right? So
that's a fact.
So let's talk about something, because we are from 2 different countries, but we all get to see how each country is handling everything. And let's talk about COVID. It's not just running crazy in the NBA and the sports world. Yesterday was pretty insane with the UFC event. They had a sold out arena.
Yeah, that was tough.
Texas Rangers had a sold out stadium for a baseball game. It seems like some places are really trying to open back up, and then you have places like Toronto that just had a complete lockdown again, which they said is supposed to go until June. So how has COVID affected you guys? How has the cities that you guys live in feel like been affected by COVID, and how is it dealing with it now? Is it going back to normal? Does it seem like it's going back to normal, or like what's going on with that?
I like y'all guys a lot, so I'm gonna be 100% transparent with you, man. Our country is so divided. You know, I mean, I'm not familiar with, you know, how Canada rocks, but it seems like y'all on y'all shit. You know, y'all ain't playing no games. But with us, it's just, you know, it's a real division depending on the region. Like the places you mentioned, like, you know, Texas, you got a governor that, you know, is highly supportive of Trump, so he opened everything back up. You know, everything's back up, no mask mandate, nothing. And then you have some areas, you know, that takes it a little more serious. And I think where we're from, just being in the South, what we call the South and the North, which is related to Texas, you know, we're a little bit more lenient. Of course, our government is a Democrat, so he's a little bit more tighter up. Like, we do have a mask mandate. Next week, he's supposed to update us on what we'll be doing going forward. But, you know, it's sad, really, to look at it, man. People not using common sense. You know, the statistics are the statistics. The science is the science. We've had over 500,000 people that die in this country due to COVID, and that's just our country. So, I mean, it's a thing where, you know, like you said, you know, Florida and Texas, they're really trying to push everything to be open for business reasons and everything like that. But it's still, you know, COVID is still alive as ever, as it has always been for the past year and a half. You know, unfortunately, my experience, I've had COVID. You know what I'm saying? This is probably the first time I've even said that publicly. And, you know, I felt like I was almost about to die, man. So now I'm fully vaccinated or whatever, and I'll move past it. But, you know, it's a lot of people in this country that's not taking this seriously still, surprisingly. Yeah. And, you know, the restrictions and everything, they're starting to ease everything up, you know, ever since it seems like the vaccine has, you know, been introduced to the country. It just seems like everybody's trying to, okay, it's okay now, you know, get the vaccine,
wave.
You know, and, you know, but it's not, it's far from it. People are still dying. People are still getting sick, you know, and, you know, my brother, you know, he's had, you know, that's on this podcast, he's had the worst experience with COVID. So, yeah, you know, it's still raging, man.
Yeah, I'll actually chime in. Like you said, man, I sit in a seat that, you know, a lot of people sit in and sit on kind of the dark side of it. I lost my mom to COVID last year. And so I understand the severity of it. Yeah.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, definitely appreciate the condolences, man. So I sit on that side of it where, you know, I'm looking around and I'm seeing people not take it serious and seeing these things open up to me, kind of prematurely. I understand as vaccination numbers, rise up, eventually we'll get to a place of more so of normalcy again. But I think that some places are moving a little bit too quickly with it. Like, for instance, our state, as Rob was mentioning, we're moving a little bit slower. But we only have about 25% of people who are actually vaccinated within the state right now. So it wouldn't make sense to get to, in Louisiana, 100% occupancy in these stadiums and different things like that until those numbers begin to rise more. So like you said, it's just really a mixed thing. I hate to say it, but really in our country, it's become a very politicized issue. Yeah. It strayed from a human issue. It strayed even at times from a science thing to really a political thing. And so seeing a division is tough to see, especially when you sit in the seat that I sit in. So, yeah.
Yeah. Rest in peace to your mom, brother.
So, yeah, man.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, most definitely. But I will say this, one of the things that I think a lot of people always get confused because America's news will publicize certain things a certain way. Canadian government does the exact same thing, right? So we have the two major parties, which are liberal and conservatives, but it pretty much is red and blue, just like down there where it's Democrats and Republicans. So depending on who is the MP of your province up here, it could run a lot differently, right? So over here in Alberta, our numbers have gone up and we've just gone back a stage, right? So you can still do outdoor dining. There's restrictions with that where if you're doing outdoor dining, if you live in a house with more than one person, you can only go to the restaurant with that person. But if you're single, then you can have two close contacts and you can go to the restaurants with them, right? But the cases would still go up, right? One of the things so that's the difference with like Alberta, but Toronto, their numbers were going up major quickly. And so they just completely tried to shut everything down. But then one of the problems, what they did was they had to rescind it because the police said that they're not doing it, was pretty much the stop and frisk thing that they were trying to do that they used to do in New York, where they could just stop and ask you why you're out here, and a whole bunch of issues could come from that. So it was such a crazy time, and this whole year has been insane, and I think that's for everywhere.
Yeah, I think another big thing for us. I think another big thing for us too here, especially, is the vaccine rollout. We're really struggling to get a grasp on this whole vaccine rollout. We're hearing that we don't have enough. So what they're doing is they're cutting our vaccines in half, basically. So you're like, I got vaccinated, my whole family, we got it all once. So now we have to wait 4 to 5 months to get the other half of the vaccine. That's the way we're doing it out here. What they told us is they're afraid they don't have enough vaccines. That's why they're doing it. But I think that's insane. The people that want the vaccines should be able to get the full vaccine. What are you guys afraid of not having the full vaccine? Because what's happening is I'm hearing a lot of people do not want to take the vaccine. There's a lot of disinformation going around. Oh, this will do this to you. This will do that to you. We don't want the vaccine. Oh, we're going to wait and see. What are we waiting to see?
Yeah,
we get it. It's a trial. A lot of vaccines that have come before this have been trials. You got to take it. This is not something that's going to stop if we don't take the vaccine.
So, Dwayne, I'll say this. To wait and see is not based off of us, like America and Canada, getting it now. I think they're waiting to see the 1 year effect because it already was given out in China and Italy and stuff beforehand, right? So the 1 year would probably be, I think it's May when those vaccines were officially started to go out. And so they'll know, because Pfizer just announced that you might have to take a shot each year.
Every year.
Right? Johnson & Johnson, I will always say this, guys. I've heard about Johnson & Johnson give baby powder giving men testicular cancer. So if I have to choose one of them, don't give me no Johnson & Johnson.
Not
that wasn't really. That's like, oh, you only got to get one shot. I'm like, why the other ones got two?
I'm gonna tell you, I didn't trust them before, and I definitely don't trust them now. I saw a news report that came out said Johnson & Johnson's coming to Canada. I said you should turn that around and send it right back
wherever it came from. It's facts.
But the wildest one I will say about the vaccine that I heard, and I talked about this on the other podcast, and I'm just bringing it up because I thought it was hilarious, right? Was that the vaccine, they said one of the symptoms that could come from getting the vaccine is that you get herpes. And I was dying of laughter because I was like, if you have to make that choice between getting COVID or getting herpes, which one would you choose? I'm not gonna ask y'all. It's on my IG page if you want to answer. Okay. But yeah, so yeah, let's move on.
But they did say let's not do. It is a different type of herpes. Like it ain't the
a different type of herpes.
The STT herpes, of course. But then they say like chicken pox is a type of herpes.
Yeah, form of herpes. Yeah. And they say 1 in 3 people have herpes, so there's 7 of us on here. Well, you do the math. So let's move on. So let's talk about movies because the trailer came out for HBO Max, the most anticipated movie of all time that Ashton's been waiting for, Dwayne's been waiting for. I don't know if Coach been waiting for this movie, but we're talking about Space Jam 2. So in you guys' opinion, what has been the best basketball movie of all time?
Ooh. He Got Game. That's mine. He Got Game is my
I'm
movie.
with you.
That's mine.
I'm seconding He Got Game. That's what I was going to roll with.
You see, like, my only question with that is He Got Game a basketball movie?
Yeah.
There's basketball in it. Like there's basketball in it. I don't know there's basketball in it, but like a basketball movie would be like, I don't know, like Hoosiers or like one of the other movies where it's like solely based on basketball. Like He Got Game to me is more of like a relationship movie with basketball
elements
into it.
I think that still makes it a basketball movie.
Basketball is at the core of it, though. It's like basketball is the core of it.
Because Ray Allen was a highly recruit, and the basis of the movie was that his father, Denzel Washington, had to convince him to go to the school of the governor or whatever.
Another school.
Yeah, to if he was able to do that, he would be able to be free. So that's a basketball movie, I think.
Yeah. Quick thing, man, did y'all know that like Kobe was originally supposed to have that role?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Kobe turned it down.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, Kobe turned it down. It was supposed to be his part.
I know he gritted his teeth at that.
Yeah.
Spike said that. Spike was saying
he should have turned down. He should turn down his rapping.
To me,
man. God bless.
As much as
hey, let's throw Coach Carter in there.
As much as I'm sure you guys will agree, we all love basketball.
Oh man.
To me, and you know what, Coach Carter, that's up there too. But to me, in terms of a basketball movie, I gotta say White Man Can't Jump. I was
gonna say that.
To me, at its core, beginning to end, that movie is dope. The replay value in that is crazy. Every time that comes on, I watch it.
Yeah.
All right.
King and Duck. Come on.
These are my two. I'm torn. I got Above the Rim with Tupac.
Ooh, forgot about
Watch that last night.
And then I got Coach Carter.
Yeah.
I think from an inspirational standpoint, that's what people look for in these sports movies. I feel like Coach Carter, I ultimately have to put that there. So I would ultimately say Coach Carter. From an inspiration standpoint, it had everything social injustices, and it just had it all. Everything you need, as a young black man to watch that and to be inspired. Samuel L. Jackson did a wonderful job.
Be inspired by it?
Sure.
Yeah, I gotta go Coach Carter.
Yeah, what about Blue Chips?
For me, I was gonna say so that's a good one too. But for me, like y'all know that like my daughter is named is based off of her name is based off of like the character in Love and Basketball.
Okay.
That's my favorite movie. But like I would say to me personally, the best basketball movie would be Glory Road. just based off the fact that it's a real story, right? So like like to me, that's like the basis of like like I know there's like underlining stories in it, like the whole racism and all that stuff that's in it as well. But to me, that's based off that basketball team, right? So like I would have that as my top basketball movie.
That was going to be my honorary mention. Glory Road.
Yeah.
He got game is based off of Marbury though. That's his.
Wow.
Island.
I never knew that.
Yeah, loosely based, but pretty much it's based off. And if you guys watch that documentary on Netflix, Marbury's documentary, that was real. If you haven't watched that, take that. That's what's it called? A Kid from Coney Island. That's real.
Yeah, it's a really good documentary.
No, man.
So
I'll go ahead. I don't think I did. I'm gonna just. I know it's been kind of mentioned a little bit, but this has always been my favorite movie. But Loving Basketball, and I think it just has that the storyline. I know it's not strictly about basketball, and it's soft.
I love it, man. It's
a little bit of the Drake. Add your little Drake soft side to it.
hey, that's my brother there. Hey, I always tease him. Like he's Drake. He's just dark skinned.
Drake. He's dark skinned Drake.
Yeah, hey, my initial CLB too. So.
Okay.
I'm surprised no Space Jam love though, man. I'm surprised there was no Space Jam love.
I love that one too.
If you would have asked me about this maybe 15 years ago, I probably would have said Space Jam. That's a little different.
Yeah, exactly.
Grown up. We grown.
Yeah, grown. Yeah, grown up.
So my own is Coach Carter. That's the one that I go for. I'm very shocked by all of you guys. Let me tell you that. Okay. You guys left out like
wow. I was gonna throw that out there. I was gonna throw it out there.
Talk about shot marks. Come on, man. We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
I just kind of was like,
next we're gonna say Thunderstruck.
Come on, man. We're not mentioning Kevin Durant on this whole podcast.
Hey, don't do that, man. KD didn't
right.
sued us or something.
Let him fight. Let him hit his pie. He gonna be calling all us out on Twitter.
Sorry. We forgot your movie, just like how you forgot Westbrook on your top 5.
Right?
Let's talk about. We mentioned this person earlier. Somebody just kind of said his name, but we're gonna have a quick discussion. Denzel or Will? Who is the more complete actor?
I'm passionate about this, so I'll go.
I am too, man.
It's Denzel, man. I mean, you look at his catalog. I mean, it's his catalog is probably insane. Just based on what he's done, I mean, I think of John Q. I think of, Book of Eli. I think of, he got game. We mentioned that earlier.
Man on Fire.
Man on Fire. Oh my God, Man on Fire. Probably one of my favorite by him. I think that Equalizer. Yeah. Even though that was probably like
Training Day.
I think with Denzel and Will, and I'm not gonna steal my homeboy's fire because he got some. We had a conversation about this like a long time ago.
So hey, I'm probably the biggest Will
just with Denzel. I think that Denzel is like one of those guys that is just like we talk about MJ to basketball or LeBron to basketball. I think that's what Denzel is to acting in general. So I don't think it's said enough, about how diverse he is, and what type of roles he's taking. Even though he switched over to the action, he's the action guy now. He's been the action guy for the past decade.
10 years, yeah.
But ultimately we don't forget about the dramatics of him and what he can do and just how he can switch it up and just what he's meant to our culture as a Black person, just getting these roles. He's paved the way for Michael B. Jordan, and those guys in general, and I think it's no disrespect. And I think a lot of people, when you do comparison, I think people feel like if you choose a side, you're disrespecting the other side because we all respect and love Will. But I think that Denzel has just done so much for the culture of movie and acting that you just can't deny it.
Yeah, no, I'll add to that, and we've had this conversation. I had this conversation at work and everything about Will because I'm a huge Will fan, you know, and I respect what Will do. And, you know, the part of this is, you know, the question is who is the most complete? Obviously, I would go with Denzel, right? You know, but Denzel has 20 years, you know, or so on Will and in the game as far as, you know, things that he's done. And the reason I say that is because, you know, Will Smith doesn't have a necessary bad guy role. If you ever think about it, he's the kind of the good bad guy, even in like when he was the hero. I can't name one role. He was the bad guy. And that's the one thing that Denzel have over him in his catalog. He's been the bad guy. He's been the Training Day guy. He's been the what would you call it, the gangster movie, American Gangster.
Yeah.
Right. He's had those roles when he's had to play the absolute bad guy. Will hasn't necessarily done that. He's always been like the light of the eye, the good guy in that. And that's the reason I give Denzel the notch over right now. But if Will find a way to become that bad guy and play that role good, he's definitely compete, in my opinion.
I kind of want to chime in too, though, man, because when we talk about complete and we just instantly go over to Denzel, I mean, can we talk about even Will's catalog starting with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Yeah, like that's another layer of acting, like TV show, comedy, and then you go into his movie catalog and combine that.
Denzel does plays and stuff. Like he acts in New York. Like when he's not doing movies and we don't hear from him, he's acting in plays. Like you saw Fences. That's a play that he like ran for like years, like in New York on Broadway. So Denzel,
I just think too, like, you know, he's had a little bit there, but I think about the comedy spectrum. You got the comedy with Will, you get the serious, the drama. It's like, I think that there are different layers there too, you know.
So Ramon, you going with Will?
Okay, this is the thing.
Sounds like
most complete. This is two things. For the question of most complete, I'm going with Will. As far as who is the best, I think Denzel is the best, but most complete, I say Will.
Oh, the chair.
Okay, I have a little story. I have a little story for you guys. The Hurricane, when that movie was coming out.
Yeah.
My dad, he's a journalist. He had the opportunity to interview the real Reuben Carter.
Wow.
He'd been talking to him for the past few years. So him and my dad are actually.
Because he did some stuff in Toronto, no?
Yeah, he lives in Toronto. He lived in Toronto before he passed. He lived in Toronto. So we went to his house. I had the opportunity to come with my dad just to see what's going on. And I remember Reuben, he was telling us about his WBC title belt that he had in the house and everything like that. And my dad was sitting, interviewing, talking to him about the movie and how he thought that he was gonna, like, how he thought he was being portrayed.
Mm-hmm.
Reuben basically told my dad, listen, if there was anybody on this planet that I would choose to play me in a movie, it's Denzel Washington. Mm-hmm. Denzel captured me in a way that nobody else could. He's like, it gave me goosebumps and it just made me emotional. He's like, I never thought someone could capture me on film like crazy. Denzel did. And he did it. And it was just like, that always stuck with me. Because I didn't really understand the weight of it. I was young when my dad did this interview. So I didn't really get it. But seeing Denzel as I got older and just the movies he was doing, like The Bone Collector and Philadelphia. I remember that movie is probably one of the most powerful movies I've seen when it comes to things like AIDS and stuff like that. Like he's just able to just grab you every emotion and just take you through this journey. I don't think Will is there just yet. In all the movies Will has done, yes, we got the last one, Fresh Prince, but in terms of the movie,
7 pounds,
Will has never been. I mean, you guess one movie out of a catalog of movies.
Enemy of the State.
Ooh. You're naming these are fun movies, bad movies. These are fun movies.
I don't know. I will say Ali was one of the best captivated one. Ali to me for Will, like I didn't see anybody play Ali. Like
I think Denzel did a better version of a boxer than Will did of a boxer. That's just my opinion.
I get it. I agree.
Yeah. All right, Coach Ashton.
For the question, so like, okay, Denzel has more of my favorite movies, on his catalog. Like I like the action and that kind of taking a Pelham like 1, 2, 3, like those kind of movies where he's like, you know, like the go-getter kind of guy, Training Day. But I would say for the question, I think Will Smith, his catalog is more diverse. He just does more things over his career. Mm-hmm. But I think if you're asking who's the better actor, who, like as Fanfare said, who makes you feel like you're living the movie with them, who makes you feel like you're involved in the movie, it's definitely Denzel. He's a better actor. He's a more emotion-based actor, I guess you can say. But my answer is going to be Will Smith, just because I think his
what.
And that was the exact same thing that I was saying. That's the exact same thing I'm saying. Like,
I'm not judging anybody on this podcast right now. I'm not gonna
we're saying that Denzel is a better actor, but the catalog
isn't that the question?
No, it says more complete.
One or the
like
other.
That's the whole MJ LeBron argument.
We should be saying one name. We should be saying one name. We should be saying one name here.
What is the question?
But
Denzel or Will?
But it's 2 different questions though.
Yeah, it is.
2 different questions.
Who's the better?
But I asked who.
That's all he said. That's all he said.
I didn't ask who had their catalog.
So to me, So to me, the most complete actor,
I'll say
actor with the most, like, his stuff is more diverse. To me, I think it's Will Smith.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Honestly,
I think Jamie Foxx is a better actor than Will Smith, if you want to be honest.
Oh, come on.
That's another conversation.
Another conversation.
Bro, he played Ray Charles. He played a.
I'm with you on the Jamie thing, but Jamie wasn't in the initial question. But I'm with you on the Jamie piece. But
oh man,
Jamie played a blind man. And I thought he was blind for like.
That's true. That is true. Yeah, but like for complete, like they said, like Will Smith goes from Fresh Prince to 7 Pounds to Pursuit of Happiness to Bad Boys to Aladdin, the genie in Aladdin. You know what I mean? Like when you say complete, I mean,
but where's his bad role though? Where's his bad role though?
Yeah, you're right. But where's Denzel's comedy role?
That's what we were trying to say.
2 guns.
You know what I mean? So like
2 guns. He was
Hancock
because that's him and Mark Wahlberg, right?
I guess. I mean, kind of, but like, you know, you can say the same thing for Denzel. Like, where's his comedy? Where's Will's bad guy role? You know, so but like from the genie to, he is. He's a good actor.
Come on, man. But Disney movie to freaking 7 Pounds. Come on, man.
Yeah. So like y'all was saying,
Training Day. Like in Training Day, Denzel was freaking hilarious. Like.
Yeah, like to me, Denzel Training Day is probably one of my favorite movies. Denzel will probably have more of my favorite movies
for sure.
Than Will has. You know what I'm saying? But
I agree.
But what does that say? Like y'all tossing it to the side. I heard 2 people say
no. It's literally a clear argument. What we're talking about is the difference of who we think is better. I think Denzel is better, but when you talk about complete and diversity and going across the spectrum, to me, Will has been more across the spectrum. He's more complete.
I get that argument. I get that argument. Will Smith's age group is basically, it could be from 5 to 80. I get it.
Yeah.
Like he can go to every audience. But in terms of this, I'm looking at just body of work. That's what I'm looking at.
That's what I'm looking at too. That's what I look at.
Denzel. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be any argument with that.
All right, so here we go. I'm gonna put some order to this, and then I'm gonna throw everybody completely off with what I say at the end. But let me put order to this. I'm not gonna ask the next question because based off of our discussions already, we kind of already answered the next question. So the next question would have been Denzel. Now, who's the most complete actor? Me personally, I'm gonna go with Denzel. But here's what I can say. I totally understand what you guys are saying about Will Smith's catalog, from doing comedy TV shows to all that stuff. To answer your question, if you want to know where he's been a bad guy, you could look at Fresh Prince, because if you were a Carlton fan, you hated Will, because he was a bad. If you were a young nerd, you might have hated more to Carlton than you did to.
Nobody was a
Will,
Carlton fan, man, until he started doing his dancing. Then he was the coach.
But coming up as a youngin, you looked up to Wills. You wanted to be Wills. So you wanted to have the women. You wanted to be cool. You wanted to be popular. Like
all the Jays.
Everyone wanted Jordan because of Will. Everyone wanted Jordan because of him.
Facts.
But Carlton did take his girl one time.
Jazzy Jeff, and I rooted for Carlton when he did that too. I was like, you gonna get with it. But the one thing that I will always say is that for Will Smith's catalog, everyone always forgets 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, come on, I know.
And I know the reason why people forget about it, but you have to still include that in his catalog.
But that
doesn't tip the needle.
No, but that speaks to his diversity.
The diversity.
It's a tough watch. It's a tough watch.
Denzel played Malcolm X.
It's a hard movie to watch.
Yeah, it's rough.
I did tell you I was going to throw you guys off with the last thing I said. So let's move on. Let's talk about the NBA. So we had a little bit of discussion about this on the last episode, but now that we got the opinionated bench warmers with us, I know some of the discussions are going to get even crazier. So let's look at post the trade deadline and some of the free agent pickups. What do you guys think was the biggest move from all of that? And who do you think lost out on everything?
Yeah, I'll start. I'll kick it off. I think the biggest move was Miami getting I mean, I know right now we're talking and he's hurt. But
always Oladipo always banged up, man.
Right. But Victor Oladipo going in for a bag of chips was like crazy to me. It's like they really was able to pull off that type of deal to get him over there and add a second punch to Jimmy. And I know they got the shooters over there.
You think
Robertson? But I think that was one of the hugest moves because they barely gave up anything to bring him back.
Yeah, I agree, but
that's a fact.
Do you think that they'd be better? So, as I said on the last episode, I think that was a good move because he fits the culture. He's like Jimmy Butler light, it was a good move in that sense. But as far as basketball, I think it would have been a better fit for them if they would have got rid of Tyler Hero and picked up Lowry. Because what they need is not another tough athletic wing guy. Because they already got Trevor Ariza. They got all these guys who kind of fill that role. What they need is somebody who because Dragic is not that guy. He's just coming in. His goal is he wants to get to the mid post, mid range, shoot it. He wants to play up and down. He's not getting guys involved. He's not playing good defense. He's not a leader of your team. He's not that. So I think if they went on and got Lowry, that would have been a bigger pickup. So my answer would I wouldn't say that was a huge pickup, but
I think to what you said, I think originally, like when we did our podcast talking about these free agent moves, the trade deadline episode that we did, I did agree with you then, but then with Oladipo being out now and for multiple weeks, which is a recurring story every season, I feel like the league, y'all can agree with me if not. I'm asking y'all, but I feel like his injury history is often overlooked. So I feel like with Houston trading him, we say, they trade him for a bag of chips, but I think that the best ability is availability, and Oladipo has proven that he's not available.
That's fact.
So I don't know how I feel about that trade. I mean, I think that if he was available in conjunction with Butler and Adebayo and Hero and what they got, I think that it would have been a good trade for them. But Oladipo, he's never available. He literally will step on the court, tie his shoe, trip, and twist his ankle, like torn ACL out for the year. Like, it's getting ridiculous to this point. And if nobody in the sports world is going to say it, I'm going to say it. I feel like Oladipo, his injury history is it's overlooked. I think it's overlooked, and it's
a big risk. Yeah,
he's a special talent, and I think that's why it is overlooked. But I think that it can't be overlooked at this point.
Yeah.
So who do you have as?
I'm gonna go Rajon Rondo for the Clippers. I know what he did for us last year. He was a big part of us, the Lakers, winning the championship, 2020 championships. 2020 championship, last year. I think that Rajon Rondo.
Wait, who won the 2020 championship? Okay.
Los Angeles.
Just want to make sure it's clear for the listeners.
In case y'all didn't hear that.
So I am so happy for you guys, but I may just bleep some of the parts. So you
I think that Rajon is going to be huge. I think this is leadership in the playoff. That means a lot. And I think that just like Oladipo's injury history is minimized, I think that the intangibles of Rondo and what he brings to a playoff team is often, minimized. And, he just brings leadership. He turns it up to another level. He can teach them how to win. And we know the Clippers, they don't have leadership. Kawhi is a supreme talent. Top. I might have him. I don't have my top 5. I'm be honest. He's my top 10.
Top 10.
But Paul George is in my top 20. But, these guys are great talents, but they're not leaders. Kawhi is not a vocal leader, and Paul George think he's better than what he really is. So I think that Rajon, you really have a clear-cut leader on that team that can steer them. And I hate to say it. I mean, I'm a Lakers fan. I hate to say it, but, those guys are better than where they find themselves were last year.
I think the biggest move hasn't been seen in full yet. And that's my preface. But if we look at what Andre Drummond was prior to coming to the Lakers, 4-time rebound leader. Man, I'm here, man. 4-time rebound leader.
I'll talk past it.
But if we see, like, when we see him with AD and Braun and KCP and Shooter, and you got Kuzma off the bench, it puts everybody in their role. And it puts everybody comfortable, and Drummond is able to do what Braun at this age doesn't want to do, and what AD has never wanted to do is bang inside and be that dirty guy. So I think at the end of the year, when Lakers repeat, we'll see that Drummond was the biggest acquisition. But as of right now, like, we're not seeing it in full right now, because he's not a guy that you can dump down and say, okay, go get me 20 and 10 and shoot 70%, 80%. He's not one of those guys. He's one of those guys that he'll clean up, he'll rebound, he'll run the floor, he'll do all that stuff. And he looks, as we see with anybody, like we saw with JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard and all these guys who have obviously have playoff experience, but when we see them with LeBron James, it's a different game on the court. They're playing with different space, different confidence. They're getting easier buckets. So I think, I don't think it's a coincidence that since AD came back, Drummond had like 19 rebounds. I don't think that's a coincidence, right? But that's my answer, man.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I had Drummond on my fantasy team this year, and oh my goodness, like, he's a beast in fantasy. He's a beast, right? So I'm hoping that buyout market, free agency, trade deadline, Boston's gonna go pick up Drummond. I thought Danny Ainge was gonna do something. He was gonna make it happen and get Drummond, because I think Boston's the biggest loser because we got Evan Fournier. And that's a team that's supposed to be
the biggest pickup, man. I thought it was
I really feel Boston with Brown and Tatum and Kemba. This is like the window to like make this push right now. I think Danny Ainge did a poor job of getting somebody at that trade deadline. We need that lob threat at the rim, and we need a rim protector. We don't have anybody else. I mean, the lane is just clogged up because we don't have that big guy that you can go up and throw like a Capella or a Drummond or any of those big guys that are bouncy and they catch those lobs, right? So I think we're hurting in that regard. And for the biggest pickup, I think now that Jamal Murray's out, I think Aaron Gordon going to Denver is going to be huge for them going to the playoffs, just because he has more space now to operate. The ball will be in Jokic's hand. And I saw Jeff Van Gundy say this, I don't remember where the other day, but he said that Orlando had Aaron Gordon playing and pick and roll and playing with isolation stuff when he's really a cutter and a slasher, right? So now with Jokic controlling that ball, making plays, and having Aaron Gordon running, cutting, being able to finish at the rim, and also now going to the playoffs, another defender to throw at Kawhi, Paul George, Bron, these guys. You know what I'm saying? A 6'8" athletic guy.
My point to that is, I'm going to say, Ash, question. Okay, so I talked about it before, but would you rather... For that Denver team, would you rather Jeremy Grant or AG?
AG. see, they Jeremy Grant, but they don't have him. So that's the closest replacement. You know what I mean? So that's my thing.
So I'm saying, so what I'm trying to get to is, I don't think they're better. I think they're exactly the same team that they were last year, maybe a little bit worse defensively, because Jeremy Grant is a guy he's do all the dirty work, long, athletic. He gave Braun fits last year, and he gave Kawhi fits last year defensively. Aaron Gordon is not going to do that. He's not going to do that. Like, he's physical, he's athletic, but he's not changing. He's not changing the shot. Like Jeremy Grant is like 6'9" with like 7'3" wingspan. Like these are like big, long, athletic guys who can change the game defensively. And then you look at
for sure
even them losing Mason Plumlee, like his athletic ability, his ability to play above the rim, to be a vertical threat, his ability to run the floor, use all six with fouls, like. Yeah, them getting JaVale McGee is that same thing. But I personally think that they're essentially where they were last year. So I don't necessarily see it as a good fit or a bad fit. It's just them realizing that they fucked up and that those two guys walk.
True, but Jokic is now playing at a ridiculous MVP. In my opinion, Jokic is MVP. There's no. You can't look at the numbers. Look at what Denver's doing.
Let's not jump the gun. We're not there.
I do have a question. I do have a question for a Celtics fan. I don't know many of them, so I have the privilege of having Ash on this podcast. I do have a question. Yeah.
Is the question why?
You're right. Yeah.
But
go on, Senator.
Y'all got rid of Daniel Tice, man. I don't understand. I don't understand that one. I don't know how you feel as a Celtics fan, but for me, from the outside looking in, I felt like, he was a guy that could, give you energy off the bench. He could shoot threes. He could spot up, and he can defend. How did you feel about y'all letting him go?
I hated that, and I hated Baines, letting go of Baines too. Before, when we had Baines in Boston, he was knocking down threes. He was playing well, and then they sent to Toronto. Now I don't know what Toronto does to guys, but he looks terrible in Toronto right now. Maybe because the guys aren't as good, but I don't know. He looked really good. He looked really good in Boston. I don't like, and I thought Danny Ainge.
Wait, I'll leave you to deal with that.
So the second piece of Senator's question, it was the worst move. And I feel like Evan Fournier was the worst move. Now, I'm not picking on the Celtics family podcast, but he hasn't been nearly as effective as he was in Orlando as a scorer. I feel like y'all felt like y'all needed a third scorer because Kemba, of course, was banged up and hasn't been giving y'all the production that y'all needed. He's come on as of late, but I think that he just, he hasn't been quite what y'all thought he would be. And I felt that y'all felt like Evan Fournier. And, of course, COVID and everything has interfered with Evan, but even when he was out there, 2 points in his debut. I think that Evan Fournier probably
he was 0 for 7 last game. He was 0 for 8 today. I'm like, man, what are you're just out there. You might as well just not be on the floor. Because you don't play D, you don't make plays for anybody.
You run your suicides, man.
You just score.
You run your suicides.
He getting his workout in.
Doing conditioning, man.
Right.
Oh man,
yeah. I'll go ahead and chime in on another winner end of it, and I think it's kind of more so. I think a little bit more long term. If you're talking about in season, this move hasn't shown as much yet, but I think for the Chicago Bulls going out and getting Zach LaVine, a number 2 guy, and Vucevic, we know what Vuce brings to the game. And the thing about it too is LaVine, you have to keep him plugged into Chicago. And I think it's in 2022 that he'll actually be a free agent at that point. So you have to show him that, hey, we're building around you. We're getting supporting pieces. And I think that that's a nice 1-2 punch, to go forward for years. So, yeah.
That was definitely an undercover move because even, to help out Zach LaVine, but that Laurie guy, him and Vooch together as your 5 and 4 that can spread the floor, that are skilled, that can shoot the ball, like they could be something special if they keep adding pieces and keep developing their guys. They could be something special down the road, but that's a down the road question, though.
Right.
What about you, Dwayne?
Ramon took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say Chicago as well. Big B. That was a pretty good pickup for Chicago. For me, when you look at it in hindsight, for a move that I wouldn't say it's a terrible move, but it's a move that, if you really think about it, didn't need to be made, is probably the Norman Powell trade. At this point, from what we're seeing, yes, Gary Trent, really good player, but it doesn't really change anything with our team the way we're playing now if Norman Powell doesn't get moved, if he's still on the team right now. I think the Raptors are pretty much the same.
They're tanking.
Listen, I'm just saying it wouldn't have mattered either way if Norman stayed or if we shipped them.
I think y'all should have.
We would still be on the same trajectory. I think.
Y'all should have got rid of Kyle when y'all could, man.
That's what I said.
The thing is, it wasn't even us. Teams weren't willing to give certain things for him. It wasn't really us.
No,
they just weren't willing. The Lakers were.
I'm happy.
There was a deal in place.
I'm happy that they did that shit.
He's an aging.
I mean, it wouldn't have made sense.
And he's never been athletic. So I mean, he's not gonna. He's not gonna tip the scale. I mean, y'all just overvalued him.
Yeah, that's facts. If we would have gave up friggin' Dennis Schroeder and even just Montrez by himself, I would have been pissed off. And the fact
they were thinking about it too,
and the fact that they were even asking for THC as well, I'm like, come on, y'all be
that's ridiculous, man.
That's what broke the deal because they didn't want to give up THC. That's what broke the deal.
And then the Heat deal fell through because they didn't want to give up Hero.
Because they didn't want to give up Hero. They're we'll give you a straight swap. We'll give you Robinson for Kyle Lowry. They're like, are you guys crazy?
That's fair, man.
Robinson for Lowry? Don't do that, Francis. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
It is kind of fair, though.
Don't do that.
No, I think all the sides did was right. Yeah.
Y'all are disrespectful. All right, let me just let y'all know, okay? Because this is how it's gonna go, right? Every time y'all try to bring up Lakers champions, because just remember the year before that, the Raps were the champs. So here's what I
rent a ring.
Hey.
Rent a ring.
Do that. I don't like this slander.
We appreciate it. No, we appreciate it. Give us the ring and leave. I'm okay with that. So here is the thing that I will say. I said last week that to me one of the biggest moves was the AG move. I did say from the start of the season that I think what Raptors should have done was traded for Vucevic. I think that would have been a big trade for Raptors because then it would have been kind of like replacing Marc Gasol Ibaka type thing of having a person that can stretch the floor and still make and pass and stuff like that. According to Ashton, he thinks Toronto's messing up Baines. I just think he's just not used to being around so many black people, not just on the court, but outside of it too. And so yeah, but I think the biggest losers are honestly, I don't know. I would say the biggest losers. I was thinking Orlando because I don't know what they were doing.
They're just selling everybody.
Full fire sale.
Terrence Watson, I think he's a loser right now.
I know, but what I was saying is, it shifted for me because when I saw that Boston got rid of Tice, I thought they should have went for Birch. Like get Birch in that trade, so you could have had Birch and Fournier. So you'd be replacing it with another like a defending big, right? Seeing that they just bought him out anyways. So you could have tried to get that player thrown in to the trade. So
yeah, I don't know what that is going, man.
Yeah, I don't know what his plan is, but it is what it is. We've already picked on the Boston fan enough already. So let's move to the end of the season award winners and let's make our predictions and let's see who we all got. So rookie of the year, who do you got?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. I got rookie of the year. I got Anthony Edwards. I think if we was talking about 2 months ago, we would go with LaMelo and what he's done with Charlotte. But being that he's been knocked out, he's been injured, I'm going to go with Anthony Edwards averaging 18 points. You know, I think it was like something like 4 rebounds or something like that, or 4 to 5 rebounds and like 4 to 5 to 6 too. So I'll go with Anthony Edwards. And then, I mean, you got to think about, he probably got one of the plays of the years with him dunking on old boy, you know, rest in peace to him.
Baptized him.
That was right.
name. He lost his name when he
slander continues. The Raptors slander continues.
My bad, man. I didn't even realize that was the Raptors, man.
They had a moment of silence for that man.
Hold on. We can't catch a break.
Excuse me. That comment was out of bounds, just like that setup for the dunk was out of bounds. That didn't count. It was just, you know what I'm saying?
Right. So, but I would go with Elwes, man. It's my rookie of the year.
I got Ant as well.
I
got Ant as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go the same way just by default. I mean, Melo was going to win the award if he stayed healthy. That was Melo's award. But
why can't he win, though? Why can't he still win? Why can't he still win?
Too much games lost, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think about the voters, man. The voters, man. They always they out.
Too much games, man. Even though
man.
Like 2 months.
I'm still rocking with Melo, man. That's my guy. That's my young boy, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think he's infectious. I think his style of play influenced the whole team. Now they're playing. They had 39 assists on 45 made field goals tonight, bro. And I don't know. For me, even though he's a rookie, I still think he has.
Once they put him in the starting lineup, it changed everything. Remember, at the start of the year, they were testing out Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier and trying to test out this. Nah, it wasn't working. Once they put him in the starting unit, and then you've seen guys like friggin' Bridges take off because he's playing up and down now. You see all their athletic guys now they're playing like
come on, man.
Charlotte is a really talented team. Charlotte is a really talented team.
Yeah, they are.
They get enough credit.
They got they're extremely talented. They're about 8 or 9 solid players deep. Like you look at Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier, like even Bismack, who's a very serviceable big. They got depth. It's just
DJ Washington is coming into his own. Yeah.
But like you were saying, man, Melo is a culture changer, man. Melo came in there and helped change that culture there. And like you said, I mean, had he not missed the amount of time, like he was the clear-cut winner. Easily. But the year that Anthony Edwards is having, like, he still was having a really, really good rookie year. So to kind of discount that and not, give him some credit there, I think the credit is deserved there. And I would give it to him because of the time Melo has missed. But
the one kind of knock with Anthony Edwards is that Timberwolves are trash.
They suck.
Melo
is influencing winning.
So that's the one thing. But Rookie of the Year has never been about winning, though.
Never has been.
That's the individual award.
That's the individual award. That's the one award that like your team can be dog trash, and as long as you're producing and you show talent, you have a chance of winning it. So that's why I'd say Anthony Edwards.
LaMelo might be coming back in the next few days, though. I just saw that. So
too late, though, man.
If he comes,
he got them young genes, man.
Yeah. Quick question for everybody. We had this discussion on our podcast. Can you call him Melo, or do you have to say LaMelo? Like, has he earned?
It's LaMelo.
It's LaMelo. He hasn't earned Melo.
Melo.
He's Melo, man. The GOAT called him Melo. I'm calling him Melo, man. The GOAT called him Melo. I'm calling him Melo.
Melo retires.
Melo is a first ballot Hall of Famer. You cannot do that to Melo. You cannot do that to him.
In fact, like only one person in the league can have the same name. Like
only one. There's not another MJ.
No, you know what just made me laugh about that was that he was only asking because he wanted like 1 or 2 other people to say yes to go with it. And when that did not work out, he just said, you know what? Forget all of that.
Exactly.
Bro, that's crazy.
Hey, but when I hear one of y'all slip up again and say Melo, I'm calling it out because I heard one or 2 people say it while we were discussing.
That's foolish.
We're gonna have a counter on it.
Carmelo stamped him though.
He couldn't even make it through his first NBA season without getting hurt. He's not Melo.
All right, but here's a question though, and this goes to this one, and it'll also go with the MVP question. So, there was a discussion on Inside the NBA. I don't know if you guys saw it when they were discussing Jokic or Embiid, and Chuck and Kenny were saying Jokic because he's been there every single game. And Embiid has missed a bunch of games. And Shaq was saying it's still Embiid because Embiid's 30 points a game and dominating. So let's say LaMelo comes back within the next game or two and finishes out the season and continues at the level that he was before he got hurt. Does that put him back in front of Edwards?
Yes.
It depends on games.
BBB.
It depends on how much games he comes back and plays.
I honestly think
there's only 12 games left, right?
Yeah,
it's only 12.
I honestly think Edwards. I think Edwards can keep this going with what he's doing. I mean, the past 25 games, he's averaging 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals on 42% shooting. I think he's going to keep that going the next 12, 13 games, how many games there is left, and I think that'll keep him in the lot.
It's just a word to lose.
What I will say though,
it is.
What I will say, though, is in Melo's time, if he comes back and the showmanship of Melo and you start seeing the highlights and the numbers start looking a certain type of way, I think that can influence some voters there. If you see him come back, he has a couple triple doubles. You see the highlights on SportsCenter. You see the live dunks. I believe that
But what's unfair about it is that anything LaMelo does is gonna be a highlight on ESPN.
They're pushing it exactly.
It could be an amazing dunk by Miles Bridges, but that pass by LaMelo is crazy.
But the pass is normally pretty good though. It normally is pretty good.
I mean, didn't they have Melo? Didn't they have LaMelo on a highlight where he was dancing? He wasn't even in the game, and he still was on the highlight. Yeah, that's crazy to me.
He's on the bench, icy, dripping.
Yeah,
it's the same way ESPN came up with these random ass stats like they did for LeBron. It's like he's the first player to tie his left shoe.
LeBron was the first player to tell you every play that he just did.
All right, but listen,
can't believe that.
For the pressure that LaMelo came in with, man, the route he took going to Lithuania, going to Australia, going to here, coming back, his dad going crazy. Like that's I'm not saying it's LeBron, but I'm talking about the hype coming into the NBA is LeBron-esque. You know what I'm saying? And to live up to the hype. You guys never thought LaMelo was gonna come in and do this. You guys thought it was all Instagram, man. You know what I'm saying? He's playing Lithuania. You know what I'm saying? So, he came in and he lived up. He lived up to it.
I'll say this. I'll kind of end on this. The NBA is a narrative-driven league, right? So we look at their awards, MVP awards. Their awards all based on narrative and how the public perceives it and how the media kind of portrays that, right? So like I'll go back to like Kobe when he should have got MVP and Steve Nash stole his MVP. Like that year, Kobe was killing, but because he had the whole rape charge stuff that was going on with him, the NBA didn't want to give it to him. And then we look at like LeBron and Melo in 2003. LeBron had all this hype coming in 2003. He was perceived the king already, and Melo had a better rookie year, and they gave it to Bron. So like, and then even with like Westbrook getting triple-double first since Oscar Robertson, they gave him that award, even though Bron had a better year that year. So like, it's always just a narrative-based thing. So as long as if Melo comes back and kind of to your point,
Melo tracker is at 1. Yeah, somebody just said it.
I said on purpose, but I'm saying if he comes back and he has that charisma and that swag and all that, I can see the media pushing it and putting him back in the conversation just because it's just the conversation that's there, you know. So yeah.
Real.
That's a good way to end that one. I will also, it's not anything towards the Laker fans. I'm just going to go back to Coach. I would really appreciate you stop using Steve Nash as your example every time. Knowing that that's my favorite player, I just don't appreciate always having to take these shots. I don't get it. Okay.
I'm just shining light.
Two-time MVP. So
he stole that second one though, man.
He didn't deserve both of them.
He's a thief, man. Stole that shit.
All right. I don't appreciate all of y'all now. So next one, Coach of the Year. Who do you guys have for Coach of the Year?
Quinn Snyder. To me,
yeah.
I mean, Utah's number one in the West. In January, they had that big 11-game win streak. To me, Quinn Snyder was able to turn that team around.
What about Monty?
I'm gonna go Monty.
Up there too.
I'm gonna go Tibbs, man. Look at what he's doing out in New York. Yeah. New York being a top 4 seed out there in the East.
It's the East.
The East, man.
Oh, come on, man. You can't discount what they're doing right now. Discredit what they're doing.
You definitely can.
No, you can't.
No, y'all are bugging, okay? Because you can't go for Utah because Utah is the reason why the league shut down. So they can't win. Okay?
That was one person. Rudy Gobert.
I don't believe in Utah, man. I don't believe in.
Hell no.
I don't know.
Yeah,
you don't believe that, man.
I don't.
They feel like they're Toronto Raptors team.
The question is, who's winning coach of the year?
Hold on. What was that?
I say no disrespect.
But it does feel like that.
Like, you know how the Raptors was number 1 in the East, like a couple of years back before y'all won the championship, but you never really believed they would win it all. That's how I feel about. Yeah. That's how I feel about the Jazz.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is just for regular season. Though. They might be crap in the playoffs, but for regular season, I think Quinn gets that for regular season.
I wouldn't be mad if he wins it, but I think Tibbs though.
I mean, you got to look at the years though, man. The Knicks haven't been relevant probably all our lifetime. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you think about the 9-game win streak, like, and the way Julius Randle, who should be mentioned in that MVP conversation, at least mentioned. You know,
MVP, most improved player.
MIP, MIP.
No, I'll say MVP, man. He's been going nuts.
MIP.
Yeah. I'll say
I think MIP as well.
I'm not saying he should win it. He should be mentioned at least.
Yeah.
He should be on
the ballot.
Y'all the same group that thinks Steph should be
on the ballot. He should be like what? Like he should get some votes, some third place votes.
Maybe. I mean, maybe
yeah. He can get
a couple of
third place votes.
Sprinkled in, a few sprinkled in.
It's a waste of a vote. It's like when you vote for president, you vote for like an independent or something. It's just a waste of a vote.
Green Party? For us, it's the Green Party.
Green Party, yeah.
For Canada.
It's Jokic. Like, it's not difficult.
But you can have 3 people. Right. It's okay. So for me, I'm going for coach. I'm going for Thibodeau. I just think the Knicks actually being relevant, going back to what was just said about Rookie of the Year, the narrative, the media needed the Knicks to be good at some point. And it's been horrible that they've been one of the worst teams for how many years?
Since Melo left.
They are the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA.
I thought the Lakers were.
And they got the biggest cheerleader on the planet on their with their team, Stephen A. Smith. He is pushing their propaganda like wildfire right now.
And Spike.
He's on social media every hour.
No, I watched the game yesterday when they faced the Raptors, and on their promo was Stephen A. talking about the Knicks, like on Times Square. I was like, what is this? And like this is your commercial? All right, cool. But I'm gonna go with Tips. Let's go with 6-man.
Jordan Clarkson. Are we on agreement? Jordan Clarkson.
JC, man. JC, Jordan Clarkson.
Pretty easy.
17. He's averaging 17 points, 4 assists, something like that, 4 rebounds.
Yeah.
He's been a vocal point for the Jazz offensively. He's been that spark that they need. It's nothing else to be said about him, man. He's always been a good scorer, but I think that his game is probably the most complete that it's ever been, and it's well deserved because he works hard.
Yeah. What team originally drafted him? Where did he come from?
Lakers, man.
I'm just checking.
Hey, all the
same thing with Julius Randle. Julius Randle, him too. B.I.
Former Lakers hooping, man.
Him too, man.
Even D'Angelo Russell, man.
Brandon Ingram.
You guys are going crazy. Lonzo's hooping, like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Talk about that.
That would have been crazy. Gold.
At this rate, you're gonna have to block out the half of the episode. You're gonna have to bleep out half the episode at this rate.
I'm gonna just let all our listeners know that this episode was originally supposed to be an hour 30 minutes. It might only be a 20-minute episode. But let's get to MVP.
I got Joker, man.
I got Joker.
Yep.
I got Joker. Yeah. He's averaging 26 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists.
Yeah.
I think what you have to look at it with it, Embiid just missing those games hurt it. And I don't think you could take away from Jokic because of that, So I'm
with his consistency.
With the narrative, I'll go with the Joker, but I think Embiid is the best player in the league right now, and I think his numbers are dominant. So, but yeah, I'll agree with y'all unwillingly, but yeah, it's Joker.
Yeah, Joker got to get it. Jokic got to get it, man. He has to. Look what he's doing, especially now Jamal Murray's gone. He's even turned it up even more. You know what I'm saying? So
just to keep that team afloat, basically alone. I mean, it's tough to do.
And I think Dame should be an honorable mention there. But yeah, I mean,
what about?
All right, so this is my thing. All right, if you can give Dame some, and don't get me wrong, I like Dame. I'm a very big Dame fan. But if you can give Dame some love with the MVP award, how can you not give Julius Randle any love?
I'll tell you why.
Long
I
pause.
Expect her to get quiet. Because it's the East, man.
Oh gosh, that's what we gonna keep defaulting to. It's the East when they had the reigning 2-time MVP over in the East. Like we can't just keep saying it's the East for every. LeBron too. Yeah, we can't say that for every single thing, though, man.
But,
like, if you're gonna give Dame some love and say Dame is in the discussion,
McCollum and the Blazers still continue to win.
Okay, so who's supporting cast are you taking, Dame's or Julius Randle supporting cast?
I'll take Dame's. I mean, I'll take. So
now you're gonna say you're gonna take Randall's supporting cast over?
Dame's. Yeah, I'll take Dame's.
All right, so that's my point there, man. Look at how Randall. Look how Randall is elevating those guys over there, man. I just think I'm not saying he should be the MVP, but my thing is if we're gonna give Dame an honorable mention and show Dame some love, we gotta give that same thing to Julius Randle. That's my own.
They're in the bottom of the conversation, but like I got guys like Steph, Chris Paul's not getting no love. I don't know why, but
Chris Paul.
Definitely
Phoenix is playing great.
I agree.
Right, definitely gotta be conversation. So like,
I just think that he and D Book are kind of splitting for that team, and that's what's making it difficult.
Even if we're being honest, honestly, I never give love to this team just because they're the little brother. But if we're being honest, Paul George is having an MVP caliber year with his numbers. If we're being honest, right? So.
Yeah,
I mean,
but people don't forget about the hitting the side of the backboard.
Pandemic P.
Oh my God!
Playoff P,
wasn't that long ago?
Playoff P.
I remember way off P trending.
James Harden before he got hurt could have been mentioned too.
Yeah, as you say. But look, and New York is 34-27 in the East, and the Lakers are 35-25. So they have the same amount of wins this year, this season. You know what I'm saying? So like, regardless of the East and West, they're winning games. That's the thing. They're winning the games at the same clip as Lakers are winning clips, pretty much. Why is it against bums? Why is it against bums?
They're playing Orlando Magic and
don't say
Orlando. They're playing Orlando Magic.
Charlotte. Don't say it. Don't.
Teams that are like
the Pacers.
That's what they're playing.
Charlotte is 8th or 30-30. And Golden State's 30-30. San Antonio's 30-29.
Well, who are
they're still playing the same amount of games, bro.
Yeah, but they're playing.
Doesn't matter because
come on, man. They're playing.
No, it's not. It's just the NBA, bro. It's
Memphis Grizzlies in the East would be. If you put Memphis Grizzlies in the East and they're playing teams like Orlando, if you put Memphis Grizzlies with a healthy Memphis Grizzlies and they're playing guys like Orlando Magic, they're playing all those bums in the East. They're top 5.
Nah, man. You're talking about Orlando. You're talking about Orlando Magic, but from the Pacers, which are not up, those are all tough teams. There's no easy teams in the East like that. It's not like the East of before. I don't think. I wouldn't agree with that. I think the East is a lot better than
more talent
we're making it seem right now.
Yeah,
way more talent.
If you're in a list of top 8 teams in the NBA, there'll be like 7 teams on the West side.
No. Yeah, you got to include. You have to include Philly. You have to include Brooklyn.
This guy said 7.
Yeah, you have to include Philly, Brooklyn, Milwaukee.
How much time we have? Real quick, somebody name the top 10.
It would be 5 and 3. It would be 5 and 3.
Name the top 10 teams.
6 and 2.
Real quick, if we got time.
6-2, maybe.
Who are the top 10 teams in the NBA?
See, for me, Utah's number one, but I don't think Utah is gonna do. I think Philly, the Bucks, Brooklyn, they're way better than Utah Jazz. You know what I'm saying? But they're number one in the West. So what does that really have to say? Because
I give you Brooklyn,
and I don't.
You don't think Philly is better than Utah?
Philly is better than Utah? Come on, man.
I don't know.
Come on.
I'm not ready to say that yet. Dog. That's my opinion.
I like how you slid that in
there. when ain't nobody with you, got to throw that in. It makes you immune to any criticism.
I think it's a bit closer than at the top. I think there's more superstars in the West. You know what I mean? But I think as far as teams and how teams are playing right now.
So name your top 10, Ash. Name your top 10 teams in the NBA.
We'll top 8. Lakers.
Top 8.
Top 8.
Lakers.
Yeah, Lakers, the regulars. Lakers, Clippers, Denver. I'll go Brooklyn, Philly, Milwaukee, even though I'm not really a Milwaukee fan, but we'll put Utah in there. So that's 3-4 right now. And
5 and 3 of the max.
Yeah, it's 5 and 3, but
I wouldn't have Bucks in there as my top 8. They got 5 players on their roster and their bench is weak. I wouldn't have them my top.
Hey, but they have some good top end talent on that team though.
Yeah,
it helps when you have Giannis as one of those 5 guys and Drew Holiday, and you got All-Star and Chris Middleton. Like Brook Lopez is a good player. Like so when you talk about the 5 that they have, those are really good 5.
But I think in regards to if you're looking at their playoff success is on par with guys like Dame Lillard and on par with what's his name, Chris Paul. So I take their roster and their coaching and what they've done and their history over the Bucks.
That's fair. I don't think it's close. I just don't think it's in the East. They're in the East and we brush them anymore. I don't think that.
Yeah,
the West is still obviously stronger, but
I agree.
All right, so let's. Do we finish up on who we all said?
Yeah.
Jokic, the Joker.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to championship predictions. Who do you guys have coming out the East? Who do you guys have coming out the West? Who do you guys have?
We can just say who we have winning it because we both know Lakers and that's gonna be there.
I'm with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Why are you guys trying to?
All right. I'm in agreement, man. Lakers Nets finals. Lakers taking it, man.
I want to see Clippers and Lakers in the West in the WCF. That's what I really want.
That's gonna be able to
see that.
With Rondo, like you said, I think that it's a way different matchup now with Rondo running that point. You know what I mean? And then even in the East with Doc Rivers in the playoffs, you know what I'm saying? When you get into that Western Conference Finals against Brooklyn, Doc with Embiid being able to slow down the game.
Yeah, they're a scary team.
And Embiid is gonna kill Brooklyn.
My thing about Embiid,
if they can be healthy,
if they stay healthy, if they stay healthy,
if they can be healthy, they're a scary team because they got coaching, they got depth, they got experience, they got shooting, they got bigs, they got guard play.
They finally fit well together. Like it finally fits. Like
Can I ask everybody a question? Do you guys truly trust Doc Rivers as a coach in the playoffs?
I do.
I don't. But
I mean, you don't like Doc. He's a Doc hater.
I mean, I trust him in the sense whereas he has experience, so experience has to count for something. I trust that. So if we're going coach for coach, and I got Steve Nash against Doc Rivers, I'm going to take an experienced Doc Rivers over Steve Nash, period. But if we're going at what he's done in the playoffs and success, like he's been a part of 3 big collapse when he was with Clippers, when he was in Boston, like they were up 3-2 against Lakers and lost. His Orlando teams, they flamed out. His Clippers teams flamed out. So most of his, like he had the one great year with great leadership and great veterans and great pieces that fit together and guys who bought in. And he kind of has been running with that narrative that he's a great coach ever since. But if you look at his track record, he's kind of inconsistent. So,
and Tibbs was on his staff that year too as well. People forget that Tibbs was running that defense. That's
defense, yeah. And I agree with. Go ahead, man.
Go ahead, sir. My bad, bro. Go ahead, bro.
No. I was just saying I agree with that. I think Doc is a little bit overrated at this point, and a lot of people, the underrated part about it is Mike D'Antoni is like a good mentor to Nash on that roster. They did bring him in. I know Mike D'Antoni's had his times and all that stuff, but I would just say again, I don't even have the Nets in the finals. I will have Philly and the Lakers in the final. That's who I got as my finals matchup. And I think it's going to take time, right? They haven't even played together that much this year. I think it's going to take time for the Nets to really figure it out. We've seen in the past that one-on-one basketball and all that type of stuff does not work in the playoffs. The court shrinks, team scheme for you in the playoffs. You know, it's a different game in the playoffs. You're going to see this team.
And those lights come on. Those lights come on bright. So Joe Harris shooting 42% this season. He's not shooting that in the playoffs.
But they still got certified killers on that team too that have shined when the lights have been the brightest as well. So when you got certified killers leading the charge, hey.
I never really subscribed with them playing together though, because I mean James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant are really, really good at basketball. You know, if anybody can figure it out on the fly, it'll be those.
And what helped them
with that, I would say, like my counter to that, my biggest thing is that we haven't seen them play well together, all three of them, because of this. Like, I think if you have Kevin Durant can play in any system, and he's a killer. He has every skill set imaginable, so you can put him in any system and he'll thrive. Kevin Durant and another guard, whether it be Kyrie Irving or Harden, they'll thrive because Harden wants the ball in his hands or Kyrie wants the ball in his hand, and KD can relocate. He does all the other things well. But when you have your two, I think the problem's going to come when you got two dominant ball handlers in Harden and Kyrie on the court. I think it's going to be like, it's not going to be continuity. It's not going to be a fluid style of play. It's going to be, okay, you go pick and roll, you get Kevin Durant, whatever. It's going to go back and forth. And I think in the playoffs, a good coaching staff, they're going to make you do what you don't want to do. So they're going to
right. So I'll answer that, Francis. And you got to think about it too. The playoffs come down to one or two plays, right? Yeah. Have they really figured out who's their guy? Who's that guy? Who's going to take their shot at the end? That's stuff that they're going to have to figure out on the fly. You only going to have enough time in the playoffs to figure it out. 1 or 2 games and you're done. You know, those games are just that close in the playoffs, as we've seen with Toronto and Kawhi hitting that tough shot at the end and ending Philly. You know what I'm saying? It's just that close.
And it's matchups, right? because their first matchup, if they stay where they're at right now, their first matchup, they got Miami first round.
Right. Yeah, and that's tough. Miami's a tough team.
Mm-hmm. That's tough, right? So
I just think that part of it though, when we did see them play together for just a little period, to me, James Harden actually played the role that he needs to play for that team. Mm-hmm. He came in to be truly a point guard, basically, to really pass first, initiate the offense. And Kyrie, we all know that Kyrie is really a small 2 guard. Like he plays the point guard position, but he's really a small 2 guard. He's looked up to Kobe all his life and all this kind of stuff like that. So my whole thing is, to me, they started when they played just a little bit of time together. You could kind of see the role development. So I do agree that they're going to need to get healthy as fast as they can. And it's not seeming like they are doing that with James Harden, being down again. But I still think that there's room for them to get it together based upon them accepting their true roles.
Yeah, because my thing is, in the playoffs, the team with the best player on the floor wins. That's how LeBron has been. That's how LeBron's been to the finals 11 times in the last whatever year, because he's been the best player on the floor. So in the playoffs, when it comes down to it, if Brooklyn has 3, I don't know, let's say they're playing Philly, I'll say Embiid, and then the other 4 best players on the floor are going to be from Brooklyn. You know what I mean? So you have three of the best players on the floor at any given time, you have a chance to win, because I've seen superstars win series on their own. You know what I mean? If you have 3 guys that could do that when you come down to the playoffs, I think that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah, I feel you on that, Ash. And the only thing, like I said, I feel you on that, and that's the best player. But on a Bron-led team, everybody know Bron is the guy. You know what I'm saying? True. Everybody know Bron is the guy. Nobody knows on that Brooklyn team who is their guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, is Kyrie gonna be the guy? Oh no, is it your turn? Is it my turn? Or is it James Harden's turn? That mental aspect is gonna play a factor. We saw KD when he did not get the ball from Draymond that time, and they got into it, that whole war. Is he going to be the guy at the end? Or are they going to make that decision? That's what's going to be the hardest part in the playoffs, I think, because everybody, the Miami Heat, they know who their guy is in the clutch, right? Philly, they know who their guy is in the clutch. Brooklyn hasn't figured that out yet. And I think it's playoff is the wrong time to figure that out.
I feel like just a quick note on that, though. I feel like that both Kyrie and KD have both been in situations like that where it was a little influx. We know that LeBron was the best player on the floor, but even down the stretch, Kyrie would take big shots for that team and would be that guy. We've seen Kevin Durant, what he did in Golden State, where you had Steph Curry over there, where you had a guy in Klay Thompson that can step up in different moments. Now, James Harden has always been, the guy who is, of course, come up small in a lot of those moments. So I can give you that with him. But to me, Kyrie has kind of seen those moments where it's in flux. To me, KD has seen those moments where it's kind of in flux. James Harden is more of the wild card there. And so I still think ultimately, I think that they can make it work, but, they have to get healthy in order for it to work.
Just to clarify, by make it work, you mean just make it to the finals, right?
Yeah, make it to the finals. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, that's clear. That's clear. Yeah.
So before we end off, we got Coach has a game for you guys all, but I just want to let you guys know that the true winners of the 2021 season will be the New York strip clubs. Now that Coach.
All right, simple thing. Let's do this or that. So I'm gonna give y'all two options, and y'all just talk it out or pick through it. Okay. So who had the scarier season? MVP Rose or MVP Westbrook?
MVP Rose.
Westbrook.
Rose.
Rose. Yeah.
I'm gonna go Rose.
Okay. Better player with a jump shot, Giannis or Ben Simmons?
Ben Simmons. Giannis.
Yeah, Giannis. I'd say Giannis.
I'm gonna go Giannis.
He's two-time MVP.
At least he attempts it.
Yeah.
He actually attempts to shoot.
I think I say Ben because he's more of a playmaker. I think that he's already a playmaker. He's a great defender on both ends. I don't think Giannis should have got Defensive Player of the Year last year. That's not. That may be an unpopular opinion, but I don't feel like he should. I think it should have went to AD. But I just feel like if he was able to shoot along with his playmaking, you're talking about he may be at a point where he may be nipping on a LeBron type skill set, and that's why I feel like if he had a jump shot, I think he'd be better.
Yeah, but unfortunately he can't shoot, so we have to live in the world of reality.
He don't shoot. It's a mental thing with him.
I don't know. I'm not so sure anymore. That's all I'm saying. I'm not so sure anymore. I just think he just can't shoot. Period. And that's why he doesn't shoot.
It's like somebody told him, if you shoot a jump shot, I'm going to shoot you in the head. It's like,
oh no, man.
He's traumatized.
Only he knows.
Yeah.
Do you remember? You guys all played. You guys all played basketball. You guys know that drill. Like at times you would start underneath the basket, then you take one step back, and then you whatever. Ben just stepped like right in between the box and the 3-point line, and just looked back and said, "I'm good here. I'm not going
That's
further."
The craziest thing.
Okay, which shooter would you rather be on your team, Klay Thompson or Ray Allen?
Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson.
Klay.
Ray Allen.
That's a good one, man.
I'm gonna go Ray, man.
Ray?
That's a good one.
I'm going Ray too.
I'm gonna go Ray.
Yeah, just saying that because he gave LeBron his fourth championship, third championship.
Klay Thompson, man.
No, I actually hated that part.
Wow.
When you get 60 on 11 dribbles.
11 dribbles, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's different, but still, like Ray in his own hold his own records with the 3-point line. I think we got.
He's a thing of the past, man.
Yeah, see, recency bias. Ray.
No, the stats show it.
We could never discredit Ray for what he did.
The game has changed. Think about it. The game has changed. It's more shot now. Ray was doing this before the game changed. You know what I'm saying?
In a more difficult period, to be exact.
I'm just looking too, man. When Klay gets going, bro, it's nuclear. There's nothing like to me. He has a different level with his shooting that he can get.
Freakiness is crazy.
I mean, Ray was a pioneer. We can give Ray the pioneer tag along with Reggie Miller, but I think that is just. Man, you just got some great shooters, man.
Bro, when like there are very few people who when like they're scary when they get going. Kobe was one of those guys. when Braun plays like it, he's one of those guys where like when he's on, there's nothing you can do with him. Steph is one of those guys as well, and in that category, Klay Thompson is in that category. Like when he's shooting the ball, like Dame is in that category too. When he's shooting the ball like that, ain't nothing you can do with it.
It's scary.
Nothing you can do with
it, man. All right, okay. Bigger disappointment: Pelicans or Raptors this year?
Pelicans.
Yeah,
I say
nobody
the Raptors.
expected the Raptors to do shit. Nobody.
I didn't expect them to do anything this year. To be honest,
I expect them to at least be. I thought they would be better than what they are.
But when you have Zion and Brandon Ingram, and
that is the bigger disappointment.
The problem with the Pelicans is that Zion and BI hasn't figured out who team it is.
Yeah,
and it's it's Zion's team. And I think that Van Gundy or whatever, he can't really decipher between them. Like, he don't want to get in between that. But I feel like if he was able to say, hey, look, Zion, this is your team. Like, B.I. kick rocks. Just,
But I think
that goes into the reason why I think that they're a bigger disappointment than the Raptors. Because one of the things you can say about the Raptors is, as horrible as they've played, they've been one of the teams to get struck by injuries and COVID the worst out of every.
And they're playing in like Orlando or something, huh?
Tampa.
They're playing in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, they're probably homesick and
nothing of their season is their season. You know what I mean? But
I look at New Orleans and I think, they made that coaching change, right? There's one of those teams in the bubble that everybody was hyping up, thinking that they were going to sneak in and all that stuff, right?
It was made for them, though. The bubble was made for them,
and they just, again, fell flat again. New coach this year, still fell flat. It's like they had everything.
Van Gundy is not a great coach. Like, how many teams
clearly now.
How many teams do you have to run into the ground before people realize that? It's the reason why.
They chose the wrong.
Hey, he made it to the finals, though.
Yeah. Oh, get the. All right, here we go.
I'm not saying that he's a great coach, but he's a solid enough coach for them to be better than what they are right now. They still are a disappointment. Like, you would coming into this season, you would have expected the playoffs to truly be probably a playoff team. And for them to not really be there, that's a disappointment.
I think that's the head. I think that's the head office in New Orleans. There's something going on. They had AD and Boogie. They had a lot of talent. Really good players. Drew. They had a lot of talent, and they're not. So I wouldn't put that on.
If we're gonna be honest, if we're gonna be honest, I think the Celtics is the most disappointing team, because I had them number one in the East starting this season off.
I'll agree with that too.
I don't agree because I didn't have them.
I had them missing the playoffs.
I did.
Damn.
Wow.
Hey, real talk.
Playoffs. I like this.
Damn.
We look back at our episode, I had them missing the playoffs. That's weird as that.
But no, that's because you forgot about them. You corrected yourself.
That sounds like that 3D take when they had the Raptors not making the playoffs and they won the championship.
All right. Okay. Next one. More promising future: LaMelo Ball or Zion?
Zion.
LaMelo.
Mello.
Zion might be a generational talent,
I think LaMelo is right there.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
It's close.
Because Melo leads to winning more. I think that Zion, like you said, he's that, transcendent generational talent. Like, he's like another version of Shaq. Like, he's like Shaq with some
agile Shaq. Agile.
But
Shaq.
I mean, you look at his impact on winning. They love LaMelo on that team.
Yeah.
If you watch any of the games, I don't know if the team feels like that about Zion. I know Zion has a name and a big thing, but they love LaMelo. LaMelo gets everybody involved. LaMelo does everything from the steals, from the passes to the rebound. I just think about that and his impact on winning and his coach, like you said. I think about he gives that just a little notch. That's not a knock on Zion. I think his impact.
I think his intangibles are greater than Zion's intangibles.
Yeah. But did it lead to winning? I'm saying, like, the Hornets weren't necessarily that good.
No,
until they start playing LaMelo though.
They're playoffs.
Yeah, LaMelo had them up to what, 4th or 5th in the East. They were like,
would y'all stop bringing up the East?
Oh yeah. So for your thing, you just gonna hate on the East the entire podcast, basically.
Okay. All right. I got the next one for y'all. So, which career would you rather? The career of Robert Horry, winning 7 rings, being a part of 3 championship teams, or Chuck, no rings, MVP, Hall of Fame, top 50 of all time?
Give me that
Chuck. Nah, I'm gonna be a Hall of Famer, bro. I'm gonna be a legendary, Hall of Famer, man.
Nobody mentions Chuck as a legend, really. We keep it real.
Chuck?
He's a
Get out of here, man.
Oh my god,
Chuck is a top 50 of all time NBA player.
One of the best power forwards of all time.
Yeah,
he's a legend.
And pioneer. What he was doing at power forward at his size. At his height and all that was ridiculous. Like,
you talk about the top power forwards. No, Chuck's name is not even top 3.
Bro, Chuck is a top 3 power forward to ever play the game.
Okay.
KG Millman.
So I didn't say
KG Millman.
So I purposely didn't, I purposely did not say anything in the last one. So I'm gonna say something now. Okay. I left it for y'all, but y'all are getting disrespectful right now. I don't like that. Okay. So one thing I'll say is, bringing up the fact that nobody mentions Chuck as a legend, people forget Robert Horry. Like, his name doesn't come up at all. I'd rather be Chuck. And
Robert Horry got 7 rings, dude.
And I know, but people don't talk about
that was the question.
I forgot about Robert. I didn't know he was still.
We don't talk about
Chuck.
He a Laker.
And you share the same name as him, bro. And you even forgot it. You forgot your own name.
If you didn't bring up the fact that he has 7 rings on 3 championship teams, nobody would have thought Robert Horry.
Is that only because Chuck is in everyone's mind because he's on the show with Kenny?
No, listen.
Come on,
Chuck was a.
Don't you guys are ridiculous. I can't believe what I'm hearing right now.
I'll say this: how many of you guys talk about Karl Malone?
I talk about him.
I don't, because he's nasty.
He's a sick dude, so that's why we don't talk about him.
I mean,
we don't talk about him for other reasons.
We don't talk about him.
Personal stuff aside. I mean, personal aside, but on the basketball court, we don't really mention Karl Malone. So I mean,
but he's like the second all-time scorer.
That is true, but I don't mention him because he's a nasty man off court.
What he did,
I don't want to mention.
Oh, goodness.
I ain't gonna say it on the podcast.
Just go Google him.
Yo, you gotta go.
I'm not
Google it. Go Google that.
I know Karl Malone was in some type of scandal.
Go Google that.
Go Google him. You'll find out. You'll find out, bro.
Wow, okay. All right. Trying to kill all our legends off.
Okay.
R. Kelly.
I got 2 more. When healthy, who would you rather, Joel Embiid or the Joker?
You say
Joel Embiid or the Joker? When they're healthy.
Embiid.
When healthy, Embiid.
Embiid.
Okay, all right. Last one. Best draft class ever. 84, 96, or
96.
96, man. 96.
Man.
The depth of that class, man.
I'm gonna go for.
Or 3?
I mean,
03?
03. That's LeBron, Chris Paul.
Yeah, 83.
03.
I was about to say, you taking the Dwight Howard class? Dwight and Omeka Okafor.
That 03,
man.
Melo,
96.
Chris Paul was in it.
Chris Bosh.
Chris Paul was 05.
Heavy, man.
Chris Paul was 05.
Oh yeah, I'm going the one 90. I'm going 96 then.
Yeah. You got Kobe. You got your boy Steve Nash in there.
Ray Allen. You got Sharif. The talent in that.
Marcus Camby was in that one.
Marcus Camby.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Y'all said AI, right?
They got a dope doc on NBA TV on that.
On 96. Jermaine O'Neal.
Yeah. I got 96 as well. That's me as well.
Man, y'all really got me disturbed by this Karl Malone, man. I'm really gonna have to
Google it.
Don't worry.
Google it.
Go look it up. Go look it
up. You said that at the right time, because we have reached the part of the podcast where we get to promote our social medias and anything else that we might be working on. So, because we got our guest on here, y'all get to kick it off. Whoever wants to start, just plug whatever you're working on.
Oh, well, you can find us at _Benchwarmers. That's on Twitter and Instagram. If you enjoy sports content lists like we mentioned on this podcast, or enjoy rankings and everything like that, that's where you can find it. You'll also be able to find us on Opinionated Benchwarmers. Currently, we're on a lot of platforms, but the major ones is Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. You simply can just search Opinionated Benchwarmers, and that's where you'll find us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dope.
So yeah, like you mentioned, __ Benchwarmer, and personally at CB, and that's on the name up here _Los. If you guys want to follow personally for me.
They covered it, man. They covered it. _Benchwarmers.
Okay. I want to make
at Ramon _H for you can find me on Instagram and all that there. But definitely _Benchwarmers. Check us out. A lot of good content there. He mentioned the rankings, everything. We also do, like mock drafts, different things. We even have like a blog site that's connected to it of some work that we've written, in times past and all that. So definitely, give us a look, man.
For sure.
Dope. Ash.
Ash Smith 10 on IG. You want to follow me? Back in the gym. But I started doing some player development stuff, so I'll be doing player development in the CBL this summer with Hamilton. Also, I'm doing some stuff with the national team at the training center this summer as well. So I'm getting into transition. I used to hoop, and I tore my ACL like 2 years ago. So I'm transitioning now, but yeah, I'm excited to go into this phase teaching a bunch of young guys. I'm doing some pre-draft workouts for some guys from here that are trying to make the jump. So we'll see if they decide to go through with it or if they go back to school for another year or two. But yeah, that's what I'm on right now.
Dope.
Yeah,
Coach.
IG is real deal _Francis. And in regards to back in the gym, we just got some good news saying that there's going to be a season this year, so we can start getting back in the gym, start training.
That's good news.
So the ACAC just said we're going to have a season for sure this year. So we're like pedal going down to the ground. So we're pushing now. So it's exciting right now, man, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Exciting times, bro.
Facts.
You can follow me on my IG. I'm Chaz, CHAS _Tenenbaum.
Dope. And as for me, you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at The Senator. Don't forget to check out the Not So Soft podcast. Comes out every Friday with myself, Nino Rockwell, Kino the Great, and Task has been coming back now. So make sure to follow the Not So Soft podcast. Also, I've taken a break from the Twitch page, but I still will do pop-ups. So follow me on Twitch where I DJ live, twitch.tv/It's The Senator. Also, don't forget to check out the Chatroom Podcast on Instagram at @the.chatroompod. If you like this episode or if you have questions and we didn't answer them, send them to our email at thechatroompod@gmail.com. New episodes every Tuesday, and we're just going to keep consistent. When we get to episode 26, that will be our season finale, just so that you guys have some time to know from now. But before we wrap this up, guys, great episode. Man. Thanks for coming on here. We definitely got to do more collabs like this in the future because the conversations were great. And we are going to be doing some stuff on our IG live too, so where it's going to be parts where we're going to have conversations with our fans and our listeners and all that stuff. So if one day one of you want to jump on when we're on the live, just let us know too. You can add in and come bring some content to it, right? So that is it. And this has been the Chatroom Podcast, your favorite baller's favorite podcast, and we are out.
Peace.
Peace, man. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks.